All right, I started. First section is slope-intercept form. And then what you need to make it is into y equals mx plus b. So I'll give you an easy one where m equals 2 and b equals 7. You literally just plug it in. Y equals 2x plus 7.
Can I look at my other sweater?
Next one. This is a test. M equals 4, and then we have a coordinate point 7, comma 2. Big issue. I don't have a b value, so I need to find the b value. So I'm going to use the equation to my advantage. I'm plugging in everything I know. This is a y, this is an x, and this is an m. So I'm going to plug in 2 equals 4 times 7 plus b. Remember, it just stays b because I don't know what b is. 4 times 7 is 28 plus b. Minus 28 both sides. Negative 26 equals b. That is not your final answer. Remember, you want an equation for the final answer. So your final answer is y equals 4x minus 26. Once again, you need the equation as the final answer. If you don't have the equation for the final answer, it's going to be that answer, okay? It has to be, you're going to lose a point. If you don't put the equation, what's in red right here, okay?
Wait, are those two different examples?
Yep. Next one. The next type of test or question I would give you is when I give you 2 points. So say 3, 9 and 4, 13, yes. For this one, what we're going to do is we're going to have to use the slope formula, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Remember to label. I'll call this x1, y1. I'll call this x2, y2. So it's going to be 13 minus 9 over 4 minus 3. This ends up being 4 over 1 or just 4. So your slope in this case is just 4. So with that in mind, because it's just 4, what we're going to do is now plug it into the equation like we did before, like over here. So we're going to plug it into the equation. I have a y and an x. I'll use the top one. If you use the bottom one, you'll still get the right answer. So 9 equals 4 times 3 plus b. Remember, it's y equals mx plus b. And I found the m over here. So 9 equals 12 plus b minus 12 minus 12. Negative 3 equals b, which means my final answer that I have to write down is y equals 4x minus 3. These are the examples of the problems you will have in the test. Not in this section. Okay? There's other sections, okay? Yes. I'll tell you. I'll show you. What's your question, Colby? Well, why don't I go over all the sections and then we'll see, okay? Okay, our next section is called point slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. In this section, what you're going to do is the first one I'll give you is the easy one, where I say, let's say m equals 3, and you get a point 2 comma negative 7. In this case, I have an m, I have a point of an x, and I have a point of the y. So now I can just solve it. So I'm just plugging it in. Y, remember, this is technically minus negative 7. So it's going to be in your final answer plus 7 because there's a double negative. equals 3x minus 2. Okay?
Wait,
Yo.
last time you posted a video from the other class.
I'm literally making a video for this class. Okay? But last time I did do that.
No, because you made the video, but you didn't post it.
That's my fault then. I'll make sure to post this. All right. Next one. I'm going to give you 2 points. 4, comma 2. 6, comma negative 6. So in this case, I don't have a slope. So I need to find the slope, which again uses this equation, y2 minus y1.
What above, you don't actually have to solve anything, right?
It's really, that's like a free points. Like, don't mess it up. But it still shows me if you know how to plug it in. Because if I see you mess up this, and I see if you mess up the same way here, I can at least give you a partial credit. Because then I'm like understanding where your misunderstanding is. So, again, x1, y1, x2, y2. So we're going to plug it in. Negative 6 minus 2 over 6 minus 4. So it's going to be negative 8 over 2, which reduces down to negative 4. Okay. Equals on. So negative 4 equals your slope. I can use either point, the top or the bottom. It does not matter. I'll use the top one, but it does not matter which one you choose. Y minus 2 equals negative 4. X minus 4. If you use the bottom one, it will look like this. Y plus 6 equals negative 4. X minus 6. Again, you only need to do one of these, but both are correct, okay? But you only need to do one of them. You do not need to plug in both. The formula? What else? I'm doing just a review of your test. I have your test right here, and I'm making up questions based off it, okay? Okay, last thing we learned was parallel and perpendicular. So parallel lines is y equals, let's say, I'll give you a line, like y equals 3 over 2x plus 5. Actually, let's make it easier. So y equals, 3 over 2, that's fine. And then I say I need a point, or I need a line that goes through this point and is parallel. So I'll say 6, comma 7, okay?
I think my nose like has oxygen. What's gonna go crazy over?
That's literally on the video. Cut it out, shoot.
I have to blow the over. It's so long.
This all right. So in this one, we're gonna try to figure out what the new line is. The only thing I care about in the original equation that I give you is the slope. Because it's parallel, it's going to be exactly the same slope. So I'm using m equals 3 over 2. But you're still doing the same process as you did in the previous questions. Plug things in. This is an x, this is a y. So 7 equals 3 over 2 times 6 plus b. In your calculator, if you have a fraction, you could just type in 3 divided by 2 times 6 to work with the fraction. So top divided by bottom times whatever your times are.
How you get the parallel slope?
No, how do you get the parallel slope? It's just
I can't listen to this. No, please speak. So how do I?
So we're gonna this slope. It's gonna be the same. So all you do is just take the slope from the equation. That one's the easy one. We'll talk about perpendicular in a second. It's the same slope. You do not care about the 5 at all. You just care about the slope. Okay. So with that in mind, 7 equals 9 plus b minus 9 minus 9. Negative 2 equals b. Remember, you want an equation for your final answer? So it's going to be y equals 3 over 2 x minus 2. So I'm using the slope from here, and I'm using the b from here. Okay? So that's parallel. Let's talk about perpendicular. So perpendicular. I'm going to again give you some equation. Let's say y equals 4 over 3 x minus 4. And I'm going to give you some points. Let's say 12 comma 10. Okay. In this one, we want the perpendicular slope. Now the perpendicular slope, I'm going to take this fraction right here, and I'm going to do two things to it. I'm going to switch the sign, and I'm going to flip the fraction. Switch the sign, and flip the fraction.
So it was a negative and you were positive.
So if it was negative, it would become positive. In this case, shoot, let's take the back. You're going to change it from positive to negative, and you're going to flip the fraction. So it was 4 over 3.
Negative 3 over 4.
Now it's going to be 3 over 4. And this is going to be the slope you're using. It's part of the rule. You have to switch the sign. So it was positive, it becomes negative. And if it started off negative, no, the reciprocal is that the fraction flips over. So it was 4 over 3. Now it's 3 over 4. But the negative reciprocal is you change the sign and flip the fraction. SSFF. Switch sign, flip fraction. So in this question, I'm asking you to not only find the slope, which is this, then you're going to have to make an equation using this line. So you follow up by doing y equals mx plus b.
Wait, that line, why not x? No, it's why not 6?
Different question. So you're using this point. 3 over 4 times 12 plus b. So in this case, negative 3 over 4. Reminder, in your calculator, you do negative 3 divided by 4 times 12. So that's going to be 10 equals negative 9 plus b. I'm going to do plus 9 on both sides. So that's 19 equals b. And remember, you want your final answer is an equation. Y equals negative 3 over 4 x plus 19.
No, I actually get it.
Cool. Perpendicular, just remember. Parallel is the same, so nothing to think about. But perpendicular, you got to flip and switch. Flip and switch.
Same thing just for the parallel. You keep the same.
Yes, same thing. So it's just 3 over 2. Well, this one, you had to flip and switch.
Pardon the interruption. Will the owner of a Honda Accord, a gray Honda Accord, license plate T34PDW, that's parked in the back of the school, you're blocking the carpool lane for lower school dismissal. The car must be moved at this time. If you have a Honda Accord, a gray Honda Accord, please move it immediately. Thank you.
So the last question on the test will be just comparing two equations, and then you telling me if they're parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So for example, if I told you y equals,
No.
I'll show you, 3 over 2 x plus 10, and y equals 2 over 3 x minus 4. Let's call that number 1, and let's call this number 2. Y equals 4 x plus 1, and y equals negative 1 over 4 x plus 2. So in this section, the only thing I care about when it comes to parallel and perpendicular is the slope. I don't care about this 10. I don't care about this negative 4. I'm just looking at the slope. So I look at this slope and look at this slope. Remember, parallel has to be the same. While perpendicular, you have to switch the signs and flip the fraction, okay? So let's look at...
Oh, that's it.
What do you think the answer
I
is?
say how I thought the second one.
Well, no, let's do the first one first. So this one, 3 over 2, 2 over 3. That's not the same, so I could cancel out parallel. No way is parallel. And this one, even though the fractions flipped,
But why can't
This-
ten be the same?
they have to be the same. They're not the same. It's 3 over 2 and 2 over 3.
Oh, those ones.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then this one, it is flipped, but it's not switched to signs. They're both positive. If one of them was negative, it would be okay, but both of them negative? So that's neither. So in this case, it's none or neither, you could write. So it's either parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Now, Kookman, you said you kind of could do number 2. Why?
Because it says negative 1 over 1 over 4. So you're clearly added the negative 1.
So what's really important
It would, then it would have been 4.
is 4 is a whole number, right?
Before one.
But before we flip it, or to check if it's flipped, we have to think of it as 4 over 1. We have to think about it as 4 over 1. So I'm looking at this slope and this slope. They are not the same, so you can't guess it's parallel. But in this one, 4 over 1 becomes 1 over 4, so it did flip. And then switch signs. This was positive, now it's negative, so it did switch signs. Because it did both the things, it is perpendicular in this one. Remember, if they're exactly the same, they're parallel. If they're flipped and switched, they're perpendicular.
So would this top one would just be,
None or neither, you can write.
can you give examples of how to do parallel?
Just write the same slope. So something like an example of parallel. Y
Does it have
equals
the exact same
4
numbers?
exact, not same numbers.
The same slope? It's a 4 over 3? Yeah, okay.
So in this case, remember, I don't care about the y-intercepts. Don't look at that. You only care about the slopes. They're the same. This one would be parallel. Good? Okay? I'll post this video for you guys.